Are you ready? Because it's time. We're ready? You got the button pressed? Oh, okay. We'll call the meeting to order then. And we respectfully acknowledge that we live and work in Mi'kmaq as the steward of the ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are all treaty people. And the approval of the agenda and order of business. Tom, I know you have a few things you want to add.
Thank you.
And I've been asked to defer 10.5, which is the issue related to the 40s boundary. So does anybody object to that? Oh, okay. So that will be deferred. And are there any other changes? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Under committee reports, South Shore Public Library.
Okay. Anything else? Someone want to move the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Public input. Anyone wish to speak to council? Each person is limited to a maximum of 5 minutes. The entire session to be 15 minutes. Each person must state their name and address. Questions or comments directed to the chair, and comments are open to any municipal matter. Anyone wish to speak to the public this morning? Speak to council, I mean. No? Good. Good start. Okay, minutes of the previous meeting, council May the 28th. Errors or omissions?
I move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing draft minutes, removal of architectural assessments, May the 28th. Errors or omissions?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing, Chester Train Station, May the 28th. Errors or omissions?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. 6.1, requests for decision, proclamation request, Mito Canada, Corporate and Strategic Management.
Mitochondrial.
I can't.
Mitochondrial. Yeah, it's okay.
Mitochondria. Okay, well, that's not the way I read it, but anyway. So are we prepared to make that proclamation?
You need a
Flag
motion?
raising? Well, yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
I'll make that motion.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Committee reports, Lunenburg County Senior Safety Program Monthly Report. Councillor Connors.
Thank you. So the monthly report was circulated in your package, so if there's anything jumping out at anybody, but it's a normal or typical month, if you will. The numbers continue to be high, the file numbers, the great work of the coordinator, amazing work of the coordinator. So that would be the monthly report, but if I could, I would like to note that we had our annual meeting, and I didn't put that on the agenda. So we had the annual meeting as well as our regular monthly meeting yesterday. So the annual meeting was yesterday, and following today's presentation or discussion or notes to you, I will circulate the annual report to you electronically. I have it in paper copy. So again, annual meeting with Board of Directors voted in. We have a new director that stepped up for the next year and hopefully for longer. A lady by the name of Julie Langell. She lives in Oak Hill, near Mahone Bay, I believe. So we had the typical reports, annual budget approved, board chair report, and so on. Typical AGM, a lot of reports.
What?
Any questions? I don't think.
No, I don't have any.
Okay, that's
No.
okay.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
And I was just informed that we maybe should defer 10.2 because Mr. Lamey's not with us. Yeah, so nobody objects to that. Did you want to do the library one now?
Sure,
Yeah.
yes, if I could, yeah.
Yeah.
So we had our annual meeting last evening of the library, so yesterday afternoon was the senior safety library last evening. We,
Excuse me. Turn on my compass.
Oh, sorry, it was,
It's okay. I can't.
They,
My
they
mistake.
thought,
Afraid to put my ear
they
in.
thought I was done, or wanted me to be done. No, I'm kidding. So we,
My mistake.
it's okay, Tara. So we had the years of service recognition for staff as well as one of the board members. 29 years for Tom Shepherd, board member.
Well, that's a long
I
time.
know it is. Audited financial statements were presented. The auditor's Baker Tilly. It's been Baker Tilly for a few years now. The most, the funnest part is the annual report to the community, the fun stuff, the stats, the notes on the programming, the report from the CEO and the board chair. Have this electronically as well, and we'll circulate that to my fellow councillors and staff and anyone that's interested. Again, lots of good information, but would like to highlight that we've seen some increases in in-person visits, as well as, most especially, digital items borrowed. It doubled in the last year. The items checked out, maintaining the same. It's amazing. 383,274 items checked out.
That's quite a
Paper,
few.
hard copy. That's not digital.
A lot of stuff.
So we also saw an increase in the programs that were hosted by the Social Public Library. And that can be in any of our typical bricks and mortar locations, Lunenburg, the LCLC, Margaret, Henniger Library, Greenfield, and so on. Now
Chester.
Zoe
Yeah.
Valley, yay! And also we saw an increase in the number of people attending a program within those programs. And I don't know, oh, I know, I also wanted to mention about the bookmobile and some of the changes. So you probably took note that the bookmobile is, as of the end of this month, so starting July 1st, will no longer be coming to the village of Chester because we, again, have bricks and mortar now.
Yep.
Zoe Valley.
Yeah.
And similar to like the town of Lunenburg, bookmobile doesn't go into the town of Lunenburg, et cetera, et cetera. We have added, there was a change in one of the stops here in the municipality, and that is in New Ross. And traditionally, and you know what traditions are like, so it's hard to change. Traditionally, it's always been Tuesday mornings, but now it's going to be Wednesday mornings, and that just was done simply because of some other changes not affecting the municipality of Chester, but Barris Corner, Greenfield, all that stuff, like they're doing the loops better. Also, most exciting too would be the fact that the bookmobile is adding a stop, and it's not a weekly stop, but it's one of the every other weeks. Like, so for example, in Chester Basin, it's every other week.
Yeah.
So, and so on. In Gold River, the bookmobile will be stopping every other week, and the location is a Gold River Reserve. Yep. So that's a new stop for the municipality of Chester, and that would be my report.
Tom, you have a question?
Thank you, Warden. Through you to Councillor Connors, thank you for that report. And I'm excited. The South Shore Library and the Zoe Valley have now joined forces, and it's an amazing opportunity. I want to congratulate Zoe Valley for being open now and offering a very wide and widened amount of service for the public. I was in a couple of times, and it was just fantastic. The feeling, the energy, the cleanness, and thank you to the volunteers, no matter where you worked for years, decades that have been involved there. I want to thank them for that, opportunity to have this again, and I appreciate the combined energy and efforts, and I thank you for that report.
Thank you.
Councillor Church.
Church?
Thank you. Just a comment, just in case anyone's confused. The bookmobile still is coming to all the other areas in the municipality.
Yes.
Just no change. Actually, they've increased at Bonnie Lee Farm. They're coming every other week instead of every 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it,
But that wasn't a recent change, that was happening for a while. So these are new starting July 1st.
yeah, well, their schedule's changing actually for Bonnie Lee July 1st as well. They decided to do that.
Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, and they will look forward to that.
Excellent, I know, we actually chatted about that, Tom Shepherd, and the new board member that's gonna be joining the team at the library, after this last meeting, from Caledonia, still having a presence from Caledonia. They've actually, unfortunately, the bookmobile won't be going to Caledonia on a Saturday morning, it's gonna be during the week now, so that's gonna cause a challenge, so Yeah, so there are some few little hiccups. But I do want to take opportunity to mention about Zoe Valley and the official opening, and Council Browner, I'm sure very well aware of this. Saturday, July the 18th is going to be the opening, and we'll receive an invitation with the rain date the next day, because there's going to be a lot of outside fun things happening. The library, if they're going to put on an event, they do a lot of fun stuff. So, not like us. No, I'm kidding. Thanks so
Bella.
much.
Yeah, I just, the stop in Gold River is a great step, because I had someone in the community that had been working on bringing it to the area. So I will pass that along to him today, that that's where the stop's gonna be, and I'm sure he'll be pleased to hear that in the community. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's just about 9 o'clock. Julie Langell? The Order of Nova Scotia.
Right there's good. Yep.
Perfect, okay. So, good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Julie Langell, and I'm the Chief of Protocol for the province. I am, sorry, can you hear me?
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, thank you so much for having me this morning. My presentation is very brief. I know you have a lot of important things to do. I brought hard copy packages of the presentation as well as a nomination form. If anybody would like one, I can leave some here.
I think
Do
we
you want me to
gave
just
them to
pass-
us already.
Pass some around and reach there.
Most part, anyway.
Up there. Okay, so just a little bit about, I'm here today to talk about the Order of Nova Scotia, but just a little bit of context. I work for a division of the Department of Intergovernmental Affairs. I manage a division called the Protocol and Honor Secretariat for the province. And our division is responsible for not only the Order of Nova Scotia program, but we also have under our mandate the province's flag guidelines and half-masting directives, state funeral policy, the provincial table of precedents. We handle any incoming programs for any incoming dignitaries into the province. And we help with event planning, and we also are we're the liaison between the Honorary Consular Corps of Nova Scotia and the government. And I just wanted to bring that forward to let you all know that part of our mandate is to give guidance to the province government departments, but also to municipalities and towns. So if you ever have questions about flag raisings or half-mastings or flag policies, if you're having dignitaries come to Chester and you want to know a table of precedents where people sit, how they should be greeted, who speaks when, those kind of things. And also with the Honorary Consular Corps, they represent 35 countries from around the world right now. So if you have people here in your community that may need assistance with passport questions, driver's license, with any kind of visa questions, those sorts of things, you can get in contact with us, and we're happy to make those connections with the honorary consuls. Most of them, some of them also speak the language from the country, so sometimes that's beneficial for translation services, those sorts of things. So I just want to put that plug in there. We're here, and please feel free to reach out to us anytime.
You're here to help us.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so today, Order of Nova Scotia. We've started an initiative to get the word out to towns and municipalities about the Order of Nova Scotia. We're trying to increase the yearly number of nominations because we've had some changes to legislation. One of them is that we can now invest up to 10 people per year. It was 5. So that's a change that happened in April of this year. And with the increase of people that can be invested, it's a good time to start trying to increase the number of nominations. So, and we know there's so many worthy people out in the communities that we can't get to, so we're hoping that you can help us with that. This year also marks the 25th anniversary of the order, so we've thought we'd do a bit of a roadshow, and we're trying to hit all of the towns and municipalities. Yep. So the Order of Nova Scotia is the highest honor that can be bestowed by the province, and it marks outstanding contributions to in fields such as business, academic, community leadership, volunteers, or public service. I'm just gonna.
It's all right here.
Sorry, this way. So we're
Yeah.
just gonna flip to the next. Yep, perfect.
Oh, there's Sam. We don't have to defer that now?
Sorry.
What's that?
He's our lawyer.
Oh, okay. No problem. Who's eligible for the order? So changes again to the legislation that we wanted to bring forward. Anyone, historically, it was anyone who was a resident of Nova Scotia, and that legislation has changed. It's now anyone who has an association in Nova Scotia. They don't have to be born here, but they've had to made a contribution to the province in some significant way. So who can't be nominated? Politicians, judges, or groups. This is an individual award. And there can be a posthumous nomination within the one calendar, within the year of the order. And just for reference, we accept nominations all year long. We usually put a deadline of the last Friday in April. But then it starts the very next day for the very next one, for the very next year. So it just keeps going. And just the next slide there. How to nominate someone. So in the packages, and I think you've seen in the presentation when I provided it, there is a nomination form. There's also information on how to write a compelling nomination. And all of this can also be found on the Order of Nova Scotia website. We've tried to simplify the process as much as possible. So basically, you need 4 people to do a nomination. You need someone to do the nomination, and then you need 3 people to write testimonial letters to support that person. Additional information can be filed as well. We're still working out a little bit with like video. It's hard to do that, but you can put links to things that the advisory council can take into consideration. Just the next slide there. Selecting recipients. So from the protocol standpoint, what we do is we collect the nominations, we check them that they're for completeness and that they're in the proper form, and then we compile them into binders, and then they get passed on to an advisory council. The advisory council meets, they vote, and make recommendations for people into the order. No fixed quotas or category, and as I noted earlier, there's a change this year, so it can be up to 10 recipients each year. And there used to be, historically, we had a youth category. We've, I think, had 3 people. Sidney Crosby was one, Ellie Black was one, and our Stella Bowles from the municipality of Lunenburg was one. They've kind of done away with the youth category, but anybody can be nominated into the 10. So, so the advisory council is made up of the chair. The chief justice, by virtue of his office, is a member. Clerk of the executive council, by virtue of office, and then 3 members appointed by the premier, 1 leader of the opposition, and 1 by the leader of the third party. And the insignia. And I'm just going to pass this around while I talk about that. I just brought it. It's nice to see. Oh, I love the vision. Yeah, it's very pretty. The insignia is presented by the Lieutenant Governor on behalf of the King. It's a stylized Mayflower bearing the shield of arms of Nova Scotia and a royal crown. It's worn with a blue, white, red, and gold ribbon. It's also presented with a lapel pin for daily wear. And it comes with a certificate that you can see there. And members of the order are entitled to use the post-noms of ONS or ONE for francophonies for life when they receive it. So that is basically my presentation in a nutshell. I will just mention, we had a couple questions that have come up in some of the previous ones of these that we did, so I thought I might just touch on those. One of the questions was how many times can a person be nominated, or can a nomination be submitted, and how long is it good for? We certainly accept nominations as many times as people want to submit them. And a nomination, you can get in touch with us and just ask us to resubmit the nomination for up to 3 years. So if you nominate someone, they don't get selected the first year, you just contact us and we can put it back in for up to 3 times, and then it would have to be, we'd have to start over. And can it be someone that made a significant contribution to their community but are not necessarily well-known in the whole province? And the answer to that is yes, of course, yeah. It would just need to be demonstrated in your testimonial letters that they could. So, and another, just briefly, another one of the, these that I did, the group collectively had talked about maybe keeping a list as a group for the year, maybe meeting once a year and making some recommendations, which we thought might be a good idea for, if that's something that council would be willing to consider. And we are here anytime. If you have any questions about the nomination form, about the process, about any of it, you can reach out to us at any time.
Do you maintain a list of all of those who have received the award?
We do, and it's posted it's on our website as well. And I think their citations are with it, so it'll explain why they received it. And we're right now sitting at 136.
Okay.
Yeah, people. Yeah, it's a great honor, and it's really a good program. It's pretty much in line with what the other provinces do and with what the Government of Canada does for the Order of Canada.
Thank you very much. Any questions, anybody? No? No? Thanks for coming in. Thanks for being available to us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yes, you as well. See you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
So Sam is here, so we're putting 10.2 back on the agenda.
Good day, Mr. Levy. Good day, Mr. Bremner.
Is everybody here from Lunenburg County Accessibility Committee? You want to come up? I know it's early, but that's good.
Just pulling up our technology.
Hmm? Oh, yeah.
Good morning. Thank you so
Good
much.
morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Laura Church. I am the chair of the Lunenburg County Accessibility Advisory Committee. I'm joined by some supporters, but also Ellen. Many of you know her as our accessibility
Yeah,
coordinator.
we've met her before.
Yeah. While I'm the chair of the committee here, what brings me to this work is I'm the executive director for the Nova Scotia Community Living Organizations. We're a membership coalition of service providers across the province. We have 57 member organizations. Bonnie Lee Farm happens to be the one here in the municipality of Chester. I also chair the Western Regional Advisory Committee for the Disability Support Program, and I'm a board member for the Disability Rights Coalition, and they are the watchdogs for the Human Rights Remedy. So that's the background that brings me to the work here on the Accessibility Advisory Committee. In this, our short presentation, I'm going to give you an overview, a background of our committee, as well as some of our successes, challenges, and some other key messages. So we were established in 2019 as a response to the Nova Scotia Accessibility Act. It is a very regional approach. There we go. We have representation from the municipal districts of Lunenburg and Chester, the towns of Lunenburg and Bridgewater and Mahone Bay, and the village of Chester. Those representatives are elected officials, a councillor here today. And the other half of the committee is made up of community members. To comply with the Accessibility Act, 50% of the committee members must either have a disability or represent an organization that supports people with disabilities. So our role is meant to provide advice to you as a council, and we want to make sure that you're aware of our role and what we can offer. The terms of reference for this committee include the following. We provide advice on required accessibility plan and updates, including their preparation, implementation, and effectiveness. Our role is also to provide advice to councils on opportunities to promote full participation of persons with disabilities and the accessibility of existing and proposed municipal services and facilities. We also make recommendation about strategies designed to achieve the objectives about the municipality or commission's accessibility plans. We get information from councils and make recommendations as requested. We monitor provincial and federal government directives and regulations. We host public consultations throughout the municipality. We provide input and advice to update the accessibility plan every 3 years, and we provide an annual budget for the committee to carry out its mandate. So as you can see from this list, the committees can support you as counselors to ensure that accessibility is considered not only in work specifically focused on accessibility. We know that you come to us when you have something specifically focused on accessibility, but we also hope you can remember that we're here for consultation, where accessibility might not be top of mind, but it's still absolutely integral to ensuring people with disabilities can participate fully in our communities. I take this back to my other role around the Human Rights Remedy. We are in year 4 of 5 of the Human Rights Remedy work, and hundreds of people with disabilities in this province are being repatriated back into their communities out of institutional settings. And so that means that the work that we're doing is making sure that our communities are open and welcome, to welcome those citizens back to community from institutions as this work continues. Successes. So up here we have a picture of our most recent accessibility plan. It has both a plain text version as well as a more visual version. It is the second of the 2 accessibility plans that the committee has created. We've also participated in building relationships. So with all of the different members we have a large network of people who care about accessibility, and through our efforts to connect with community. As an example of that, we recently hosted a First Voice panel Q&A that took place at the Modal Council Chambers on June 2nd in recognition of Accessibility Awareness Week. If you didn't have a chance to attend that event, you have a few more days. It is up on the YouTube channel till the end of the month. And these relationships with people with disabilities in our communities, as well as their allies and support organizations, can help support engagement of people who may not have traditionally been engaged with municipal government. These voices can support making better accessibility decisions. We can also be champions of projects that you're doing. So the work that you're doing, we also want to highlight and champion the good work. Again, it's promoting our community as a open, safe, and welcoming place for people with different disabilities. The other thing I'll remind people is that the accessibility adjustments you make, while they might be specifically for people with disabilities, they actually make our communities better for everybody. An example would be curb cutouts. While they might be assisting somebody who uses a wheelchair, walker, or other mobility aid, any of us who've ever had to drag along a heavy bag or push a stroller can tell you that a curb cutout benefits everybody, not just people with disability or accessibility needs. Some examples of successes that we wanted to share as a committee. So this is this slide here shows the renovated washrooms at Wild Rose Park and Western Shore. So those washrooms are equipped with an adult change table and are beautiful. One of our committee members visited the park to give some additional advice as that project was being completed. Lovely sidewalks, beautiful view, really all you can ask for. We've also given advice on designs for Sawpit Wharf and Modal and Civic Square in the town of Lunenburg. We had a lot to say about initial designs of those projects, and we believe that feedback was both supportive and well received of more accessible designs. One of our challenges, we're going to highlight just a few of them. First, there are just gaps in knowledge around accessibility. People don't always know what to think about when related to accessibility needs because accessibility means different things to different people. Second, there's often an actual or perceived concern about costs. So we know that there can sometimes be an increased cost compared to designs that do not consider accessibility, but that's not always the case. And that intentional planning that considers accessibility often does not result in increased cost or significant increased cost. And we also know that when we don't include accessibility in our designs, we knowingly exclude members of our community. And we talk about the stat later, but that's almost 38% of Nova Scotians have a disability. We're the province with the highest rate of disability in our communities. And I'd also like to say that disability is one of the only marginalized groups that any one of us can become a part of at any point in time. So we're also just building communities that work for everybody. Finally, a key challenge with accessibility work is that people who most understand those barriers to accessibility, those people with disabilities and people who are close to them and support them, are often not represented as amongst decision makers. So unless we are intentional about bringing those people to the table, seeking out consultation and getting their viewpoints, we don't have all the information we need to make good decisions that will work for them. I use an example from a friend of mine, Paul Tingley. He works with the accessibility director, and Paul's a wheelchair user. Sometimes we tick accessibility boxes, and I met with him, and he had been to a McDonald's that day, not in our beautiful municipality, but one in Nova Scotia, and they ticked the box. The McDonald's parking lot had accessible parking, and it had an accessible entrance, but they were at opposite sides from one another, so in February, it made it unusable for him as a wheelchair user. So bringing it back to our work as a committee, we just want to make sure to remind you, we're here. Please come to us for advice. We don't hear from all of our councils as often as we'd like, and we'd very much like to hear from you and provide advice. This means we also don't always have a great expectation of what you hope to get from us. We have a lot of collective knowledge and experience, and so we want to know what expectations you have of us as an accessibility advisory committee. And then the third point is communication. How do you want to hear from us? Would you welcome unsolicited advice? Different councils have different opinions about that, but that would be great for us
We get
to know.
unsolicited advice all the time.
Great. Or should we only respond when you ask for feedback? We volunteer our time and our expertise and hope we can support you to make our communities more accessible. These foundational and more process-oriented challenges make it difficult but not impossible to help make change happen. We certainly want to work with you to decrease the impact of any of those challenges. And a reminder that in our key messages, you know, what we use several lenses to consider advice because, again, accessibility means different things to different people. One of those lenses is around intersectionality. So people with disabilities are often disproportionately in poverty, for example. But we also consider things such as race, sexual orientation, gender identity, obviously socioeconomic status, and other identities a person may identify with that can intersect and impact their experience as a person with a disability and what accessibility means to them. Also, foundational, we use a human rights lens. And what that means that we recognize that accessibility is a human right and that intentionally building communities to include versus exclude our citizens is something we should all be working towards. Next steps, we just ask that, again, remember we're here, consider how you can best access and benefit from the Accessibility Advisory Committee and our perspectives and our hope that we're working to build a more inclusive and welcoming community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the work you all do.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any particular questions? Tina?
Thank you. Not a question, but just the reference that you made to the First Voice panel discussion that took place over at the modal offices. I did take that in, and I was so happy when I left the building, if you will, because there was, again, it's one of those times when there's so much that you didn't realize that you don't know, and that you don't take into consideration and appreciate, if you will, the differences that could and should be made, if you will. And I would absolutely encourage my fellow councillors who weren't able to make it because of schedules to take in that YouTube video. And I know that the 3 individuals that were there, and actually 4, because a moderator was able to throw in some personal perspective and references as well, if I remember. So I just thought it was, I thank you for that as part of the Access Awareness Week, you know, kind of that week. So, but thank you for being here in terms of the totality of your presentation, but I just wanted to make mention of that.
Thank you.
Thank
Tom?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Warden Weber. Through you to the presenters, thank you both, and to the work you do. I also want to recognize Bonnie Lee Farm because I really appreciate the input they put. I've been at a number of committee meetings where they've had representation and bring in the concerns and the wonderful forethought and the ideas that we have to be aware of. As a person that's starting to slow down and change the way they move, it becomes clear that disabilities and accessibility and other things are so important and so key in our communities, and our buildings are all being recognized to have to be up to that code or up to that standard, and moving forward, there will be a cost. Public has to accept that is part of the way we have to work as a community, as a united one. So again, I appreciate that, and I thank you for that opportunity to hear from you today.
Thank you so much. I'd also say that there's always a cost to exclude people. We think about the cost to include them, but there's always a cost to excluding them. It's maybe just not as easy to see or pin down. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation
Thank
and the
you.
work you do.
Thank you. Ellen's the best.
Good job,
Okay. Ten point one. Commercial uses, first reading, community development recreation, amendments to the village plan and all that kind of stuff.
Morning.
Morning.
Yeah,
He
he
gave
sent regrets.
regrets, that's all I can tell you. I don't know exactly why. I don't know, no, I think he's fine, I just,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he sent regrets. You had another commitment.
hey, Paul, we're ready whenever you are.
Okay, yeah, so we've heard from me on this before. So the Chester Municipal Heritage Society has requested several limited commercial uses for the train station lands.
Yeah.
So they're intending to keep the primary use, the train station museum and other institutional uses, but they'd like to add outdoor and indoor event, craft workshop, restaurant and retail, commercial uses as a possibility. And that's to help both offer more services to visitors, but then also to supplement some of their operational costs and such. So council's directed to, has directed this to be a site-specific zoning, so just applicable to the lands. And also nonprofit ownership, as well as not expanding the existing buildings for commercial uses. So the last time we talked, there was two neighbors that came in and they were concerned about kind of maybe the open-ended nature of the outdoor commercial uses. So I came back and looked at that again, and what we've come up with is taking that one use out from the other four uses that were listed there, and adding a few more regulations for that.
Yeah.
So instead of a development permit, it would go through a temporary development permit. So essentially every season they would come in and
Do it,
if
yeah.
they have events that they want to schedule, they can get a permit for a limited, that specific period of time. Also, these events could change from year to year, so why would they get a permanent development permit for something
When they're
that
not
might
even the same
change?
thing.
Nonprofit ownership, no new permanent buildings, a 6-meter buffer abutting the residential zone,
Yeah.
and specifying the dates for the events. So there's clarity on what's being permitted, and no new renewal of permits. So that was development officer asked for that, but they could come in again for a permit at any time. So the changes with that did not change the MPS amendments, but it did change the land use bylaw amendments. So
First reading is required.
first reading is required, and also I wanted to make sure we get the public hearing date right. So there's a policy and strategy on July 23rd.
Yeah.
Typically, we have public hearings before council meeting, not necessarily the public, or
Well, we
policy
can
and
still do
strategy.
that, can't we?
And then July 30th would be the alternate date to make sure we have the public hearing notice timing.
We could
So-
still do it on the 23rd, yeah.
Okay, good.
Somebody prepared to move the recommendation? Second. Couple of seconders. You're doing good. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
So we are on to 10.2, Fire Services Water Rescue Program.
Okay. I think I'm going to present this one because Aaron's not here, but Bruce is here to help. He's been involved in all the discussions. I've been involved in some of the discussions. And I think Sam has been involved in some of the discussions as well, and Tim, because there's some financial implications and some implications for acting as sort of a treasurer for this, right?
Yeah.
So.
Owning the
Yep.
assets.
All right, so, just as a recap, we're bringing forward a recommendation for the funding and governance model for the Fire Services Swiftwater Rescue Team. So council supported a grant application and initial funding, and we need some direction on how the program's going to operate in the long term. So back in November of 2025, council approved $57,000 to establish a Swiftwater Rescue Team. The total budget for the team is $257,000. So 200 of that is coming, 200,000 of that is coming from a provincial grant that's been approved.
Council agreed to the terms of that.
Yeah.
Council agreed, yeah. And so the discussion up until now has been council will fund the capital piece of it, the 57,000
They have
to
to
get
fund
the
the
capital.
rest.
They have to fund the rest of it, so they being the fire service has to fund
The ongoing
the ongoing operational costs.
Yeah.
And so we were directed to go away and look at what some options are to do that. And as we were going through that process, we realized that the challenges that are associated with that, because the fire service has come back and requested that we retain ownership of the assets and that we administer the operating funds and the capital funds.
Right.
So they're looking for us to own it because they don't want any one department owning the equipment. So, and
They
there's no
don't have it.
there's no entity that overall for fire services. So they've requested that the municipality retain ownership of the assets, and then that we manage the operating funds. And so as we were going through the discussions at the staff level, we were talking about some of the challenges that might be associated with us. So if we are administering the operating funds, who approves purchases and the expenditures, and what happens, who sets the budget, and what happens if one commission decides that they're not funding it and another one. So we are coming back with some options. We had some discussions between staff,
And
the fire services,
Right.
so it's being led by a team, and we've had discussions with them, and we've had discussions with Sam. So we have three options for you. Option one is that the municipality funds the operating program. So it's about $40,000 a year, I think, in operating.
Yeah, in the first year, it's gonna be less than that, but
Yep.
in general terms, yeah.
Yep.
Option one's the preferred, is it?
Option one is the preferred, so the municipality would fund the operating, a subcommittee of fire chiefs would manage the operations of it. And then the FAC would be focused on budget review and recommendation only. And then that would emphasize that it's a municipal-wide service and it's municipal-wide funding. There's some options in there on how that operating could be funded, and we can come back with those details. So it could just be funded from our general tax rate. We could also look at setting a separate, similar to where we had the island rate before, we could have a separate rate that would be a Swiftwater Rescue Team rate
yeah.
on the tax.
That reflects that it's a municipal-wide service.
That would reflect it, yeah. So for this year, we could fund from general operating and then
Next
look
year,
at
we could change.
changing that
So
for
is
next
the-
year, or whatever that
Are
might
the
be.
fire departments happy with option one?
I have to take it back
So
to
we
the
need to go
FAC.
back to the fire
but we
advisory
need to-
committee with some recommendations.
Yeah, needed
And their next
councils.
meeting is the 15th of
15th,
July.
yeah.
So that's why we're here today, is to get a little bit more direction on what we're taking back to them for discussion. So the second option is that the fire commissions would continue, so as directed by council, the fire commissions would need to fund that program. The municipality would administer the funds. And then, as we said, there's some concerns with that, right? Like if one department doesn't agree with the expenditures, and so you can see where that could
We're
cause some
trying
problems.
to avoid having council decisions
You guys have looked at all the,
differences
Yeah.
of opinion or whatever,
Yeah.
so, but, yeah.
you guys have looked at all the detail.
Yeah.
If you think option one is the one that works best for
We,
us.
we do. The only
So,
other
like,
option
yeah.
is to establish a separate governing body,
That's
which
all.
is much more complex, right? So we think probably option one is the best one to move forward
So
with.
we
Yeah.
comfortable with that? Yes. Them going back to the fire services?
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Tom?
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Tom?
Oh, sorry,
Oh, sorry.
Mike. My fault.
Thank you, Warden Weber. I wait for the red light. I think there's a couple of things I want to recognize. I mean, most of the fire services, and thank you for what they do, the 7 we have in the municipality, are always saying they're overworked and overburdened. I realize this puts some more burden on them in some ways, but I think they have to realize there is a requirement that we work together. And that means they're gonna have to do stuff and we're gonna have to do stuff. And as much as I'd like to say they can just kind of dump it on us, that's not the way I can see it working well. I think procurement will be the challenge for them when they want equipment. They're used to doing it very quickly, and then we have a process that we have to follow. I've heard this before, so I want to make this publicly known that when you do something through the municipality, there is a step set out by the province, and it takes time. So you just can't come in and say, I want this piece of equipment, I need it tomorrow. That doesn't work. So that they've got to be aware of. And I think you've recognized well in this option one, the fact that we may have to set some rates because, again, there could be changes in what departments or what services want to be done by what agencies of the 7 departments. So again, that changes almost as quick as officers can, or what attitudes can happen amongst people. So I think those are the things that we have to be aware of and stay alert on, and I think that option one does cover that. And I want to thank Bruce for the depth work he's done.
they're very aware of the procurement issues, and if you look at the master capital plan at least in the first year, there's only really one piece of equipment that will be subject to it, and the other part of that option is that we don't get involved in the day-to-day decision-making. If they've got to go out and fill the boat with a tank of gas, that's at the chief's level.
And that's what I'm talking about, the responsibility they have, the work that comes with that, the paperwork, unfortunately, all those things that work together as partners, so thank you.
It's definitely the cleanest.
Okay, they have a recommended motion. Somebody prepared to move it? Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you, Bruce.
Good, thank you.
And hopefully they agreed on this.
Oh, yeah, we'll get that through on the 15th.
Okay, 10.3, community wells. Couple more agreements. Whatever. Getting there.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, essentially, this is an update on the 4 remaining areas for community wells. The first one, should have brought my glasses, will be the East Chester Community Association. Their water's already treated, so we're good to go. We're looking at about $10,000 through the capital on that. In the previous report, we were still looking for a location in District 3, so we budgeted for the own well, the own host, the own treatment system and that. But the Church Memorial Park stepped up.
Oh, good.
So for $1,500 instead of, 40,000.
That's a way better
good
deal.
one. Yeah. And the Western Shore as well for the fire department. Like they had a spot by the parking lot where we could set up our own building, our own well, our own treatment system. And we had another talk with the commission, and they've allowed us just to hook into the main system, like a hose right by where you guys were distributing last year. So that saved us quite a bit as well. So they're all ready to sign up. And for the new Ross Farm, they still have their agreement from last time. They just need one more signature, so that's in progress. They're gonna do a bit of internal work and take care of that themselves with their own people. So when they're ready, and we have a price on that, which would still be within the budget, because it's looking like around 100,000 overall under budget now, then we can hook onto that and run it out to the parking lot. So these
Okay.
are the updates, so.
So we'll have a recommended motion here again.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, team.
Yeah, there's three there, whether you,
Yeah.
go ahead, yeah.
Thank you. I was going to ask on where again, I know they're in my notes somewhere in terms of the three that we had previously talked about. Could you just mention those again?
Yeah, there's one
And
at
agreed to.
the church in Chester Basin.
Yeah,
The Hubbard's Fire Commission.
yeah,
And one on the Public Works facility.
right on, right on. For District 7, yes, exactly. And also too, just a comment about the new Ross District 6 location. Package had come out to the public, of course, on Monday. So on Tuesday morning, when we had the event at the Ross Farm, I had opportunity to speak in specific detail with Mark. And he had updated me the week before anyway, in terms of where they were, their discussions with the province, who again would own the buildings, if you will,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah.
all that kind of in between, but thank you for all of this work. Yay.
Yeah. No,
Community well's so
I've had a lot of
important.
help, it's not just me, but yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
I
just
think
one
there's-
that's stuck with the
The
reports.
team,
yeah.
right, yeah.
Councillor Coolin.
Councillor Colin,
Thank you,
yeah.
Fred. So can you give me the update on the conversation with the Hubbard's Fire Department regarding the opportunity for
Yeah.
the community well?
Yeah, we're in there, we have to get 3 quotes for the purchase order, to put the treatment system in. We've already done some testing, we know what the treatment system will have to be capable of. And then we're just taking it, like, all the water will go through that system. So we can take it from anywhere in the building to the closest port. So we picked a location for that, and then we should have an accessible parking area for people coming up. So it's about 5 meters by 5 meters. We kind of plan that for all the
So
sites.
we need a motion to sign all three.
And,
agreements.
yeah, so they had the proposed location, and they're good to go. right?
So there's no other spots that you were looking at for Hubbard's? That's a go, is it?
Yeah, we
With the-
were
with the
directed
fire
to find one in each area, and that one seems to make a lot of sense, right?
Oh, okay, so I was chatting with Gabe Rucci, and he said he was up for a conversation regarding if there was an opportunity to have a drilled well on his property.
Yeah, we looked
But-
at that before, and we were
Okay.
going, then they were a little nervous about their own supply, they had a lot of use, and then
I was just
he
chatting to
seemed
him
back in
yesterday,
there.
and he said that he would be up for a conversation, but if the
Already
location, of the community well is already pre-established at the fire department,
Yeah.
it's a go.
Yeah, and if something falls through there,
Which
then
is
we'll definitely go
uncontrollable,
with that. Yeah, exactly, maybe it's expanded next year, who knows, right? But-
Thank you.
Hey, Sharon?
Councillor Church, yeah.
Thank you. Just wondering, do you plan to roll them out all at once or as they?
As soon as they come online, we'll have a communication strategy there, and we'll get the
Okay.
proper wording on the signage, because everything's treated to Canadian drinking water quality standards. But just like, how do we cover ourselves at the tap if they're not putting it in a gas jug?
Just curious
right?
if you
know,
have
things
a
like that.
rollout date in mind for the one in District 7 at the Public Works Department?
Well, overall, we're trying to have everything operational for August 1st,
I hope.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the one in Public Works, that's the one that may take longer, because we're trying to get a consultant to look at the whole lot for grading and so on, because we don't want to run the line out to the road where we're planning and find out, oh, we got to drop it down a foot, and then you're worried about freezing. So the recommendation has been made on that, we're just waiting for approval, so.
Okay, thank you.
Dallin?
I'd just like to thank Fred and the staff for this, for this coming to fruition after, you know, this is gonna save the municipality so much money.
Hopefully, it
I
adds 7
mean,
wells.
we
right,
know what the
but
water
just
program,
7, right.
that we spent on the water program, and the fact that we can offer this,
And they can get more water this
and
way,
we
too.
can,
Different
and
kind.
that's right, it's just, I think it's such a great thing that the communities and the organizations are working
Yeah,
with the
they're great.
municipalities, and,
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes so much sense. You know, there's a ton of water supply, and, I just thank you for doing that, because this is a big deal in my area as well, because I know what we gave out last year, we did it on our own, and, you know, we had to send people there, and whatever, we did it.
Yeah.
But this having, you can go at any time, well, have whatever the
Summary, yeah,
guidelines are,
that's
but,
right, yeah.
I just can't thank you enough, on behalf of
And we'll
people in my
probably look
district.
at some sort of monitoring system well on our end, just to see if it is dropping, because if it's
Oh,
dropping
exactly.
too low,
We'll
then
have
we'd
to
have
do
to
that.
shut those
Yeah,
down, right?
but that's,
Hopefully not,
that's right,
yeah.
that's a start, thank you.
Tina?
Thank you. So I, just to echo Councillor Asap's comments, but I also think that this is kind of a strong talking point for the municipality of Chester. I know that I've spoken to a couple other municipalities that seem to be noticing that this is on our agenda, and with the funding.
Oh, we're leading in
Yes,
this.
and
yeah.
so, and also too recently with the announcement by the province, I think there's a grant available for municipalities and communities, and I know other communities that don't seem to see their municipalities working at the speed that they would like them to work at, because, well, it's a basic need, it's not even just a want, right? I mean, water,
No,
clean
it's a
water,
need, yeah.
water supply. So I'm just thinking, down the road, we might want to talk about this as one of the success stories that we might
Oh,
want to
yeah.
put forward at an not FCM, but an NSFM conference. I really think that this is important. I mean, it's not as, sexy as some stuff, right? But water is
Oh,
more
it was
important,
brought up
most
to me a
important.
couple of times at the NSFM
Yes,
conference that
so-
we were providing leadership.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that, but yeah, so I'm prepared at this point to put forward that motion too,
To
as well.
approve the three.
I'll second
three-
that.
Yeah,
moved-
all
moved
three?
and seconded,
Yeah.
yep.
All three of them? Can we do them all at the same time? Yeah.
Yep. Discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Now, you wanted to bring something
Yeah,
up?
so we are, so one, that's three, so we have one outstanding agreement that needs to come back, I think, right?
Correct, yeah.
So just for New Ross, so that'll come back at some point. We're hoping to have this in place by August, as Fred said, but we're already getting calls around the water coupon and whether or not we're intending, we already have calls of what is our intention with the water coupon, when will they be available? And so we're in this position of, we're trying to get the quotes and get all the work lined up. We know how difficult it can be working with some of the trades sometimes. They're very busy and there's shortages, so we're hoping to have that all up and running for August. But there always is this risk that that doesn't happen. And so we're in this position right now where we're not clear on what messaging we put out to say there will be a water coupon or there won't be a water coupon. So I don't know if council wants to have that discussion of now, or we can put it on the agenda for the 9th as well. So Councillor Asaph had us.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just speak for my own area. I know if we run into a position that we're not completely set up, I mean, I'm willing, I'll do what we did last year in my area. I went down and another volunteer, and we handed out water, and it was potable water from the fire department. I mean, I will say, it's like anything, that water program was abused in some cases. Not all, and I'll say that in open session. I mean, it's like any government program, whether it's municipal, provincial, or federal.
We've had so much
There's some
rain.
abuse in it, and I know there's nothing you can do about it, but, I mean, we gotta look at, we're trying to save the municipality money this year. If we would've had to pay that bill last year,
Oh,
Yeah, it was
That
a
the
lot.
province paid?
140 some odd thousand.
exactly. I mean, and that's coming from
everybody.
every taxpayer in the municipality. So, I think my opinion is if we're gonna, I think just hold off and on the water program till we, it's not been dry yet.
No. If you don't
And-
have water, it's
I
because
mean,
your
I
wells
don't
are-
know, how long does it take to set the water
We don't-
The
program?
current forecast right now is for regular in July, regular precipitation in July, and a little bit of a drier August.
So how long,
Reconsider in August, too.
Tables are up.
so how long would it take to set the actual water program up, the water, bottle program?
2 to 3 weeks, the time.
Well, I think that gives us a leeway. I mean, that's my opinion. I'll let other councillors speak.
I forget who was next.
Sorry, Councillor Church was next.
Thank you. I agree with Councillor Asaph. I think we should wait. If someone has a dry well now, they really have to reconsider
They're well.
their well, because, the water table is not low, and usually you know, it's August when people get dry wells. I think we should wait until later on, and hopefully we'll
See what
have
the weather is, yeah.
the wells, you know, up and running by that time, so we don't spend just money unnecessarily.
Tina?
Thank you. So, Eastchester Rec, Chester Basin Church, Chester Basin Church are close, or were there or something? Because we approved those previous, right? Those two?
Yeah.
Okay, so those areas are gonna be in good we're guessing. they're
Should,
gonna be-
right, yeah, we, went out for three or four quotes for plumbing, and one responded, so we're just working with that one to go from point to point to point, bring this
Yeah,
online.
yeah. So we're gonna be, again, assuming good shape in those particular areas. Today, we're doing Hubbard's, Chester Village, and Western Shore, again, hoping that we're gonna be in
Yeah.
good shape. So again, I look through the municipal lens, and I look through the lens of people traveling, from Aspetuggin to New Ross, and all points in between. So I'm okay with putting that off for the next council meeting, July the 11th, or I don't know, whatever that Thursday is.
Well, you never know what's gonna
But
happen,
I'm
so-
cognizant of those areas. And again, water, basic human right, it's important. There's people that have transportation challenges, and so on. So I'm aware and looking through this lens, and I would be speaking no differently if we were already set up in New Ross, right? So I just want to remind everybody that, again, it's important to the entirety of the municipality. I'm excited that we're doing this, but and I will be very happy when this is happening, but we'll wait until July, whatever the date is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna, oh, sorry, Tom.
Thank you, Warden Weber. Thanks, Fred. This is very positive. I echo what my fellow councilors say, and I'm going to take a little different approach, conservation. If we're going to head into a dry August, and potentially we could, or before or after, folks, limit what you're doing. You know, there's people pumping millions of gallons a year out and just running down the road, and I know I've had this discussion with our CAO many times. We have no laws to stop what they do, but we can encourage common sense, we can encourage awareness, we can put a volunteer list in, you know, this is what you should do. I send it out on my, Facebook page that I have saying, this is what we should be aware of. But if community doesn't help us, it becomes very challenging in another way too. So conservation, in my opinion, is just as important what we're doing to provide it. And I think this is a very good step for us as a municipality, and I support this 100%. Thank you.
Can I just add that just around that, we're working with Jen and putting out some messaging in the newsletter and probably social media around conservation measures.
Tom, you want to speak again?
Yeah, thank you. That's very important. I get a call a week on that at least, and I appreciate that. That's a good step for all of us, our home municipality. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Ace.
Oh, sorry.
I just would like to ask Jennifer, are we gonna put anything in the newsletter about these community wells
Oh,
coming,
yeah.
or, or not waiting till they're open, or you're gonna give them some pre?
No, we had to wait for today. It's gonna be in July.
Till we sign the
Perfect.
contract.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, that's it for that one.
I'm next anyway.
You just stay right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I got this memorized pretty well, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, groundwater exploration, yeah.
Yeah, and this is part of the Exit 6 growth strategy that was led by other departments. And through that strategy, it looked like there may be a potential for a groundwater source near the Exit 6 area. So we looked at different options for exploring.
There isn't any.
The consultant group helping us suggested, 500 meters away from the 10 Beaches site, right, just so there's no interference. So that was in excess of 130,000. That was the previous report. So a little gun-shy on that. And then I received direction to investigate on the 10 Beaches site and to contact the owners, see what their thoughts are. And that would entail like shutting down their water system for 2 or 3 days as we did the testing on their system, or drill a well as close as we could get, be like 100 or so meters away, which could still be risks for damaging that system. And the owner appreciates what we're trying to do on that, but they did not give permission for that. and I understand, and even if we had the water from that site and then did the disbursement throughout the community, we're still not gonna have enough for the low growth scenario, which they can do on site.
Yeah.
So I feel that 132,000 we could put to other exploration that's currently ongoing.
So we should discontinue.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if there's no water, there's no water. Right?
yeah, for low growth would be no problem, but to pursue even medium density and that, we'd have to get lucky. Like they found a great source for their needs, and I'd hate to mess with it, to be blunt, so.
Okay, so the recommendation is the council not pursue central water system based on groundwater resources near exit 6 as identified by the proposed exit 6 comprehensive community development plan. Are we fine? Oh, sorry.
I appreciate the work that you're doing, but it's pretty disheartening that this is going to be deferred or potentially going to be deferred. I think I'm speaking a little too soon when I mentioned that, is there a possibility to look at and speak with a developer there in the area, really close to 10 Beaches?
If they found something extraordinary, yes.
Pardon me?
If they found something like really amazing yield from their groundwater, sure, look at it, but.
Would it be something that we could explore? I mean, as opposed to just shutting it right down?
Yeah,
right?
if something happens in the future, sure, we'll have a look at it there.
Oh.
I would say that we would look at that if they did find a very high source, but with the hydrogeologists I've been talking to and their knowledge of the area, what was found at 10 Beaches is surprising for the area.
Yes, but this developer, Gabe Rucci, is not too far from there. I just was wondering if there was an opportunity to speak to him.
Yeah.
I think I spoke too soon.
If
when
I'm
I was-
thinking at the same one, they had a decent yield, but it wasn't as high as
Okay.
10 Beaches,
Okay.
yeah.
And there's no other proposed areas that can be researched? I understand it's
how-
$132,000, but it's also a very cut-off answer that, okay, we're not gonna explore any groundwater projects
Yeah.
in Exit 6 or around the surrounding areas.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate, because CBCL looked at it years ago for expanding, because they had wastewater concerns on the HRM side, so they included the whole area. And they looked at the lakes,
Yes,
very
for sure.
close area.
Sollers Lake.
And they didn't have enough,
Yeah.
quality or quantity to support that. So the next lake is quite a bit further out, several kilometers, would be Kavanaugh. And that'd be a major thing, yeah.
expense.
I was just wondering what
Maybe in the future,
what
but-
future infrastructure will be there at Exit 6 if we can't, find a groundwater source? The whole idea of developing in that area is that particular, area.
Yeah, and it depends individually and how other departments have set up that you do some test wells. If
Yes,
you
for
can
sure.
prove that you can support this yield without impacting other people, go ahead. And then maybe it's a case where, hey, we can do more than medium. And then I assume, I can't talk for Chad's group, that there had to be a development agreement to change any zoning, but, yeah, I don't know.
Thank you.
Tom?
Thank you, Warden Weber. This is an interesting challenge, and I've been thinking of it from a couple of ways. We have a growth strategy plan that wants to have growth.
Yeah,
We have a large community representation from right across the municipality. They're challenged on the size of growth.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful. Then we have the need that we want to provide a service, but how far do we go with that expectation and the expenses? Then we have the question that Councillor Coulon, rightly so, maybe there is a property owner that has something, and if they could prove to us that they have something, I think just to go drill wells on people's properties is for another reason than just helping only us, but it definitely has to be thought about in a different way. And then balancing all that, we have to have some responsibility on the individual owners, as you say, Fred, for their research to prove that they have water to do what they want to do. Nobody, so far as a councillor, I haven't seen anybody that wants 200, 300, 400 homes built and have a water supply provided, because that's going to be crazy amount of water, and that's challenging. More realistically, the small, medium-sized subdivisions kind of thing seem to be more acceptable within the right process. So again, I think when you look at all our messaging, people can get confused. I know as a counselor, I can get confused, so I have to be careful.
For staff.
Yeah, and I have to be careful, but I think to waste more money at this point, endanger possibly someone's very good source right now in a large area of residential, is not what we should be doing. So therefore, I can accept this the way it's being presented to wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
And some of this has to be on developers too. They have to come up with some thoughts and help too to make this work for us. So
Yeah, I
I'll
mean,
leave
they-
those
they've
comments there.
taken it- Their overview is that there just isn't a source that's obvious, so, you know. Yeah. Tina?
So the question that I'm gonna ask then might be answered. So 10 Beaches has good water,
Yes,
good supply.
that's
good
my
produ-
understanding
good
for
output.
that area, yeah.
And the property owner that Clarissa Coolin had referred to earlier is near 10 Beaches. And so have we had discussions?
It was the
Sorry for
same
the
one
same
I'm
question.
thinking about is to the northeast on the other side of the highway.
No,
Yeah.
I don't, I think the one, because I had conversation, I don't believe that it's the one on the other side of the highway. It's the
Okay.
one on the other side of Highway 3 to the
Okay.
other side of the road, yeah.
That's
So
quite a,
there could be
quite a
another
bit
property
away.
owner that,
Potentially could be another.
right, and I'm not talking about wasting money, Councillor Bremner and neither or is anybody, but just to have that discussion, so
Well,
I'm not
somebody could
familiar with
talk to
Hubbard's
them,
as intimately as, say, Clarissa, as Councillor Coolin would be. So if there is another property owner that's within the area of 10 Beaches, and we know there's good water, strong water source at 10 Beaches, would that be worth picking up the phone or
Well, he
having a
could
discussion?
talk to him, there's no harm in talking to him.
Yeah, and that still just gives us the low growth scenario.
I know,
Right.
I know.
But anyway, yeah.
And so I just wanted to jump in just on the growth strategy side of things. So Hubbard's obviously has been identified as a growth area, and we do have ZAP Consulting hired to do the comprehensive community plan for the Hubbard's area. And so that project was essentially put on pause while we did this water investigation, because that will significantly impact the work that ZAP does going forward. So if the decision is to not pursue water because there really has been no good prospects,
changes his growth
their work
strategy.
will reflect that. That will see a lower growth scenario reflected in the plans that they bring out for the Hubbard's area. And I mean, I think reflecting on some of the recent council decisions and proposals that have come into that area, that may be what the area is calling for, is a lower growth scenario. So I just wanted to comment on that. So whichever way council goes, if we continue to look and there is eventually a source found, then ZAP's work would reflect the possibility of water. So I just wanted to make it clear that they won't be coming out with plans that show high density if we have no prospect or no continuing search for water. So that will all flow, not intended, from there. Yeah.
What do we want to do? We can defer to the,
Policy and strategy?
yeah,
could
and
defer.
take another look, but
To policy and strategy and have another
But-
conversation around growth strategy, just as a reminder of what is the low growth scenario and the high growth scenario, and what does that mean? So that we can start to move forward with ZAP. We can sort of stay status quo, go back and talk to the developer that has a property across the road and see if there's any, and then come back again. Or we could look at there's also the do nothing, right, and just continue status quo. Or there's this, potentially look at options for proceeding with water exploration. There's a number, we could do a study there. We could look at, I've had discussions about potentially term positions, so we could look at what that looks like of, do we hire somebody internally to kind of drive this forward water system there? But there's options there if council is like, sure that they would like to find water and proceed with a water system if we want to be more aggressive with that as well. Staff feel that they've got enough information and they're fairly confident in the work that they've done
that there isn't a
that there isn't a
sufficient water
source,
system.
but that doesn't mean that,
They'll
you
never
don't
find
look in a different area. Groundwater it's a,
I can see them
It's
looking at
tricky.
that one piece of property that's being deferred, but that's it. And come back after that, yeah. Right, Clarissa?
Councillor Asaph had his mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, so what, the
Wasted
developer
money.
has looked at options as well, has looked for groundwater there, that's for this possible development? Do you know any, has he?
There's been some wells drilled at the exit 6 area.
Okay.
there that have been-
Yeah.
well,
So
yeah.
this isn't about any one development,
No,
right?
this is just
isn't about-
This is a
I understand,
landowner.
I understand
Yeah.
overall, but I guess my argument would be we're putting sewer in Chester Basin, that's a identified growth area. So are we gonna drill wells there?
Not, it's
I
not the
mean,
intent.
I just, if I didn't have the evidence of what the staff is saying, and we can look at another property, actually, absolutely.
I mean, we're looking at central water in
Right.
a general sense
Yeah.
across the municipality,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean we're gonna develop it or it'll happen within the next
Yeah.
10 years
Well,
or anything.
if you wanna explore, the other properties, I mean,
Well, I can see looking at the one other property and
other
just having a
property, if-
discussion with the owner, but that's, yeah, do that and come back, yeah.
Yeah, they probably have some preliminary studies of their own, and well.
Yeah, and
we
just
could
have
look
to
at
see,
that.
see what they said, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'll know whether it's even worth pursuing it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Is that good, Clarissa?
Yeah, it's just that there's no cost to having that conversation.
No,
So
doesn't cost
I
anything to have the
appreciated that,
conversation.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay, that's where we are for now.
Okay, great.
Okay, where am I on my agenda now? Yeah, but I think I just should mention, because there's some people here from the New Ross area, and that's probably because of the 40s boundary, and you weren't here, obviously. We deferred that matter until the next council meeting, because Councillor Vino had made that request to me, and he wasn't able to make the meeting today. No, I didn't know, you didn't have appointments, so I didn't know to notify you. So, it's not on the agenda until next week.
The
Oh,
July
9th, July the 9th. He wanted it deferred because he wanted to be part of the discussion, and Tina agreed with him, and I just, so I didn't, there was no, it wasn't,
Yeah, Morton spoke to me to see if it was time sensitive, after Councilor
Yeah.
Brown requested the
Yeah.
call, so, yeah, so the board and I.
and we had no appointments, so I didn't realize that there was an issue related to it. That's all I can say. You want to take a break? We're going to take a 10-minute break. Okay, we're back live, so we'll call the meeting back to order. We're on 11.1 Atlantic Whitefish Range Expansion Initiative. And to my knowledge, that's just for information, unless somebody has something they know more about Atlantic whitefish than I do. Oh, well, there you go. I fish trout.
Also, oh, thank you. I do know that the Blue Nose Coastal Action have worked on this file for many years. They've had funding through the federal government to kind of just oversee this. So I know it's just another one of those endangered species that we have in our area. So I guess anything would be helpful if they, they're gonna do something. I'll just say that.
Yeah, but we don't have any control.
No, we don't. It was in the Oakland area that they were working on the whitefish.
And this is just a notice from the federal government that they're doing a survey. So if you
Yeah.
wanted to participate and complete the survey,
Yeah.
this is
You
just
can,
to let
yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Okay, 12.1, loan guarantee for the Chester Basin Fire Commission.
I think I can take this one.
Yep.
So this is just a request that Municipal Council approve a guarantee resolution for a $625,000 loan for Chester Basin Fire Commission for the purchase of firefighting pumper truck, and that we get direction to submit that guarantee resolution for ministerial approval.
Moved by Tom,
Second.
seconded.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Is your mic still on for some reason?
No.
Okay. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. 12.2, animal control contract award.
Good morning. Yes, this one will be relatively brief. This is just an information report to notify council that the animal control contract has been awarded to Ocean Mark Kennels. And so we're pleased that they resubmitted this year. We've had really great service from them in the past, and so we're really pleased that they were interested in continuing that service. And so we have followed through and awarded that contract, and Sam is just in the process of putting the actual contract together.
And then we'll
both
sign
with Ocean Mark, yeah, and as well that, just a reminder to council that this service does extend in partnership to the municipality district of Lunenburg as well. And so we'll have that agreement put in place as well for the same, for Ocean Mark and for the same period of time as well. So we're proceeding with that. And then the only other note that I just wanted to identify is that unfortunately we did only have one submission. So at some point in time, Ocean Mark will retire.
And somebody,
from their
we'll have
business.
to find somebody.
And we will have to find somebody, so I'm not looking forward to that, because I'm not sure what that option may be, but we may have to kind of reconsider, how we look after enforcement of our animal bylaws. So anyway, just some thought for the future.
Okay, you might as well stay here, because we have the
Yes.
community fund grant request.
Yes, we do have a designated community fund grant request from the New Ross Legion, so they have kind of followed all of our policy, and they have requested a grant in the amount of $4,000 to go towards the construction of an accessible ramp for the facility's second level exit door. And so they have submitted that request, and so that's before council this morning for consideration.
Somebody prepared to move we approve it, or what do you want to do? Seconded by everybody. Discussion, all those in favor, opposed, motion's carried. Okay, 12.4, Gold River wastewater study. Who's doing it? Oh, Fred.
Yeah, this is an area that was talked about in some of the earlier strategy sessions with the present council, because there was past discussions of areas that may not have the proper on-site wastewater treatment in the Gold River area. It's been a while since this has been looked at. Maybe it's fine now because there's better treatment technology in that, but there are a number of small lots in the area discussed. So as per the direction that we had as one of the areas to look at, we're suggesting that we send a letter out to all the residents of the area. And it's voluntary to see if they do have concerns and what they are. It's totally anonymous. And if we get a lot of response to several people, then we'll bring it back to council for further direction.
Okay?
Well, either way, I guess we'd bring it back, because if we didn't get any response, we'd still discuss that.
Still tell us, yeah.
Yeah.
Abdallah? I think it was Abdallah first.
Thank you, Fred. Love every part of it. The only thing that I would recommend in the letter,
Yeah.
where it says participation is voluntary and confidential.
Yeah.
I mean, that was in your report, but
Yeah.
I think it's important that we put confidential in the letter as well.
Thanks for catching that. I thought I did, right? Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that's why I wrote Tara and said I love the e-scribe, because I picked that up and I actually found out how to type into
Great.
the actual thing, or I forgot it. So thank you, that's, yeah.
Okay, Tina?
Actually, I was just gonna say that same thing around the confidentiality. And, because, and I am curious how we can ensure that confidentiality. So when,
Well,
and I don't question it, so people can obviously send in the response, it can be kept confidential. Can it ever be FOI popped?
Yeah, anything we receive could be FOI-POP. We have a process of, it's not automatically, I'm gonna turn my mic on, sorry. It's not automatically released. There's a process through FOI-POP in which we would review, and so if that was a third party, something we received from third party, we would make sure. But generally speaking, anything we receive can be FOI-POPed.
No, not
So-
much we can do, but.
So is there, yeah,
You may be able to redact information, you may
Okay.
be able to redact personal information, but the responses
Yeah.
can definitely.
oh yeah, the responses, because we want to know the totality of the responses, but
Yeah.
we don't need to
The,
know.
the individual records
That's-
can be FOI popped. So we would redact personal information, we would have conversations, there's reasons we can refuse to release, but we would have to go through that process in the
Right,
review.
okay, so there are reasons, and unless there's a valid reason, somebody would be requesting this information, a valid reason, then, right, so yeah, so I think that it would be, if something like this would, my guess would be, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know what the reason would be. So no, that's good to know for future discussions about community engagement. Thank you for that.
Okay, so we wanna move forward with it?
Just direction, you need a motion for this as well?
Yeah, you should.
I think we were looking, it doesn't hurt to have a motion if we're doing so, the recommended recommended that we get a motion to direct staff to investigate whether residents of Gold River of the Gold River area are interested in a wastewater treatment.
I'll move that motion.
We have a seconder?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried.
I'm sure Pam, you got all that.
Okay, 12.5, removal of green gym equipment.
Musical chairs here. Yeah, so the request that's before council this morning is the removal of the green gym equipment. I know often we're looking to install new parks and trails and equipment, so this one is a little bit unusual. So if council recalls, back in 2011, the municipality received some funding to install outdoor fitness equipment. And so at that point in time, there was a lot of emphasis on improving physical activity levels, which we're still concerned about and still do that. But one of the trends was to look at taking those types of activities that are typically done indoors in a gymnasium and move those outside, so people could do their workouts in an outdoor environment. So these gyms have been a little bit popular kind of at that time, but our particular location and really overall, I would say outdoor fitness equipment wasn't, the uptake wasn't what I think
We thought it might be.
people thought it may be at the time, or in particular those folks that were selling the equipment at that time. And so one of the things that happened with the particular company that we were working with is they went out of business very shortly after we installed the equipment for several reasons. And anyway, so we did not have any support in terms of maintaining that equipment. And so any of the pieces that have moving parts were very kind of challenging to maintain. We had a little bit of vandalism and improper use. And so just over time, and the equipment is now in a point where they're starting to see some rust. There's the butterfly machine in particular is not functioning properly. And so, in speaking with our Public Works Department, of course, we need to maintain it and the area around it and the equipment as best we can on a regular basis. But because of the state of the equipment, the lack of interest by the communities of the very low usage, that the recommendation that we have before council this morning is to actually remove that equipment. And so there's a list of kind of what is on site there. And so one of the things that we would like to maintain is there is a bench at that location, a bike rack. And I think we would keep that.
People like to sit there, but they don't
Exactly.
use
So
it.
as trailer users are coming through, it's, it is a nice inviting shaded area to sit. And so I think we maintain that. We would just remove the fitness equipment portion. So, yes, there's a few photos in there for you, so I can just bring that forward to council for.
I've already told them it makes sense to me, so. Discussion, all those, oh, sorry.
Councillor Youssef had his.
I saw with the options, other suggestions from council, so I wrote this in my notes. Have we looked at donating the workable stuff to maybe
Park or something.
another organization, maybe Together We Can Society or Forest Heights, or have we looked at that option?
Have not, so I guess I would defer a little bit to our Public Works Department, so I guess it's a matter of, so.
Is it
so
in good enough shape to do?
Right, is it in good
yes.
enough condition, and what is the condition, upon us removing it, so it is, there are concrete footings that it's attached to, because we needed to prevent it from, from walking away and being vandalized, and to make sure that it was in safe condition, and so it needed to be well secured to the ground.
So if there's anything any good when you're done, let us know.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
guess when it is removed,
Yeah.
it may not be easily removed, and so I guess we could look at the condition of each piece as it is removed, and if there's some of it that is we feel is in good condition and
Yep.
may possibly be able to donate it, then we could speak with
Perfect.
our partners, in particular,
Yeah,
Together
no,
We Can
absolutely.
would be an obvious one, yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. Village of Chester Land Use Bylaw Amendment Request. This one right straightforward and simple?
Not really.
Well, yeah, as much as any of them are, I think. So this is a recent submission, and as we do at this point in the stage, this is really just a notification to council that an application has come in requesting an amendment to the land use bylaw. This originates in the R2 zone in the village, and hits on a couple of issues around essentially lot coverage or the number of accessory structures permitted on a lot. I will note as well that Luke Hanson McDonald, the applicant, is here, so he may want to say a few words if council's willing once I finish up here, and I will be fairly brief. So in short, in the new village plan review that we brought in spring of 2025, we revised some of the provisions around lot coverage in various zones throughout the village. There have always been lot coverages, but the way they were calculated was a little bit different, and so in the new bylaw, we essentially have a hard, rather than a percentage of the lot area, we have a hard cap on the footprint of structures on the lot. So the subject property here, 89 Victoria Street, all of the current structures predate that change in the bylaw, so they're would be considered legally non-conforming uses in terms of they do exceed the current lot coverage. But that the applicant is seeking the ability to create an additional accessory structure, essentially as a pool house for a pool that's being installed. And just for reference, we do not require permits for the installation of pools. We don't get into that and regulate that.
It's in the building.
Yeah, but the building, the structure that is proposed to house a washroom and some mechanical equipment, as well as a covered patio, is something that gets regulated by the land use bylaw. So there's no real ability. Basically, there are no options in the bylaw to exceed in this case, and so therefore the only option left, other than, for example, taking down some of the existing accessory structures to create space for a new one, is to request a change to the land use bylaw. So there's a number of ways that we could go about this, and obviously I don't have the full staff report with all of the what that means. Just so these are essentially just sort of initial thoughts based on the request and taking a brief look at the lot. So I noted these here in case council wanted to either direct us in a specific direction or say, don't bother going down that route. And you don't have to do any of that. If you don't do that, we'll bring all the options back in the staff report. So a few ways that we could look at this, the most simple change, but probably the most impactful across the whole village would be to just increase the lot coverage allowance in that zone. But that would affect every property in the R2 zone. And I'm sure council remembers many of those village plan review meetings where these were hard fought by members of the community to get larger setbacks in place to protect that existing character of the R2 zone, which is different than the R1 zone on the peninsula where higher lot coverage and larger structures are expected. So one way would be to just increase the lot coverage. As we've done, with the train station amendment, council does have the option to look at site-specific amendments. Generally, ideally, there would be a good reason for that. I think in the case of the train station, they made a good case as a not-for-profit looking to expand potential revenue streams. So council would need to consider whether this case justified a site-specific amendment. And then another potential avenue, so the bylaw does allow something called a small accessory structure, which is 250 square feet or less, and that does not count towards the overall lot coverage. Every lot is allowed one of those, so it's meant to be if you've already exceeded your lot coverage and you need a place to store your lawnmower and some shovels, you can do that. In this scenario, that essentially has already been utilized. There is already a structure on the lot, which would be the small accessory structure. So another change council could consider would be to just allow a second small accessory structure in the R2 zone. That again would affect the entirety of the zone. Or the possibility to do a site-specific amendment to say at 89 Victoria, a second small accessory structure is
Doesn't
permitted.
cause that much grief, or whatever. Yeah.
Right, with ideally some justification as to why that site deserves different consideration than the rest of the zone. And then the final sort of concept that I've had, and again, these will all be developed as we move forward, is currently in the R2 zone, there is a distinguishing line, you could call it, between smaller lots and larger lots. And larger lots get a slight additional amount of building area that they can do. So we could look at this and see whether there's a justification to create a third category of lot.
Because of the size of the lot.
And so on larger lots, you would then have a third category which maybe allowed more lot coverage, which potentially could resolve this situation. So there's not an easy fix, and other than a site-specific amendment, the changes would be broad across the zone. So again, council does not need to provide any specific direction here, but I just wanted to raise these in case, like I said, there was a preferred option or something that we, agreed right off the top we didn't want to pursue. Without additional direction, this would follow the standard practice, so we would hold a public information meeting, prepare the full staff report with draft amendments by that point and take that to planning advisory and then
bring it back to
council.
us.
That's right, so.
Yeah. What do we want to do, people?
Am I allowed to ask a question or make a statement or anything like that?
Well, yeah, he's part of this one. He can with the will of council, yeah. Are we allowing it?
Could I just ask my question before, because I don't want to hit?
Well, let these two people ask the question, and then I'll come back to you. Okay. Del, I think you're on.
Garth, I'd just like to know, the site-specific amendment.
Yep.
Does that call for a public hearing as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the process is the same for any of those.
Okay.
Yeah, good,
Thank
good
you.
question. Yep.
Okay, Tom, and then I'm gonna let the,
So looking
Yeah.
back, and I'm just looking for clarity through you, Warden, to our staff. Clarity, can I have the map back up for the area, please? Just the red and the green?
we didn't.
Thank you. I know this area very well. The properties that are adjacent to it are owned by the same landowner, correct?
Yes.
So we're not interfering with anybody else?
that's right, with them.
I've gone up to the street above and looked down. There's no interference for view to the harbor or anything, and I personally don't see any challenges with this, but I do feel it should be site-specific to this property.
Essentially, since he owns the surrounding
Right,
property.
and I think that would be the way to consider that because of the conditions of this and not stirring everybody else up that, and people have the right to come if they want other things to see what we feel at that time, but this is a very,
It's unique in that he owns everything around.
right, exactly, so I'll stop there, thank you.
Now, we were gonna let him speak.
So, thank you very much. The additional context I wanted to add is that the challenge is we're allowed to build a pool without a permit. A pool requires a utility room. The existing structure we have is a wood shed that has gardening equipment in it. It's a tiny little structure. And we're in the middle of installing this pool. We've been having an open discussion with council about, hey, we're doing this project, et cetera. This is a relatively new bylaw, you know, it was in the last year. And so we didn't catch it before we started this. And in fact, we even applied back in March and we weren't told until 2 weeks ago that we were denied for this to go forward. And so we are in a tough spot where we have a pool in the ground. We are in the process of laying stone around it. And there are pipes coming out of that pool that need to be housed. They can't just sit outside. Like there is a literally physical pump equipment that has to be inside of something. And we're willing to try to shrink the structure, but it's already 200 square feet, so it's like a shed. It's not a huge structure. And the only option we've been given is we can go knock down my mom's gardening shed, which is again completely hidden on our own property, and it allows us to build this, which I appreciate. This is an abnormal request, but what can we do in the medium term? Because I've been told this is going to take up to 6 months to resolve, which means meaningful cost for us to go through what was described to me as 6 different meetings in order to get approval to build effectively a shed on our own property. So it's, I appreciate it may be complex from a process point of view, but like what I'm actually asking for. My parents are old. This is the main way they exercise. My dad's had a bunch of back surgeries. Being in a pool makes them feel better. My mom likes to swim. They're both nearly 80. Seems crazy that we're not allowed to build a small structure and have to knock down her wood shed in order to do it. So I apologize.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure we can do much. Well, we can try to speed the press up as much as you can, but.
And frankly, getting this file on this agenda was a rush beyond our normal timeline. So we can't, the meetings are the meetings. Council does have the ability to skip some of those meetings if they choose. I would not recommend that. This is a brand-new bylaw. This was hard fought. I hope council remembers.
Yeah, I do, I remember.
Those
yeah.
meetings.
People
This lot
wanted-
coverage was not put in place lightly.
No.
And I, have empathy for the applicant, but on the other hand, the pool has been planned since the bylaw was in place. We worked with this applicant on other properties during the plan review for a rezone. So, going through this process is the only way that I see, other than, the only other possibility, and this is because, as council's noted, additional properties are owned by the same property owners, the possibility of subdivision adjustments to have the accessory structure placed on an adjacent property may be an option. I haven't dug into that, but that is another, in terms of speeding it up, that is.
Or lot consolidation.
Right, so a boundary adjustment, the property to the southeast, I believe does not currently have a small accessory structure, so that, there's maybe potential to look at that, and subdivision may be a little bit faster than going through this amendment process. There'd also be nothing stopping the applicant from pursuing that subdivision route at the same time this is working through our meetings. So that's the best staff have been able to offer. It is, an unusual request to break our bylaw that we just worked on.
Oh, no, we can't just ignore the fact that we have a law in place. But, yeah, it just seems to make sense that he should be able to figure out a way to do it, whether it's just because he owns everything around it, right? And
If that's council's, yep.
Yeah, it's just whatever the simplest process is.
Sure, yeah.
And it would seem to be just an exemption, yeah, a variance or something, because of the nature of
Well, we would have looked at variance, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
and
that's
there's
not
no ability
possible.
to do it. So there's really, it's a do nothing, it's go through subdivision, or it's go through an amendment process. And all of those, like the two processes
all take time.
unfortunately do take time.
Well, the subdivision, he doesn't need our permission to do. Does
At
he?
least to investigate, that's
So
right.
he
Yeah,
needs
he
to
would
go,
need-
yeah, not council's permission, but
Yeah,
the
oh, yeah.
municipality,
Yes,
it's a process through the municipality, yes.
But that could be something that could be investigated through with our development officers
Yeah.
and with the surveyor
To see.
like I said, I haven't done all the calculations,
Yeah.
but that may be a possibility.
be.
And
Just
if
in
not,
trying to think.
site-specific.
And if not, we can, and I think that's the direction I'm hearing today,
Yeah.
is to
So
proceed with
site-specific,
this as a
but,
site-specific.
yeah, we should talk with the applicant and see what process makes the most sense to him.
Right, right.
Okay? That's where we are?
Great. Okay, we'll proceed, thank you.
Okay, so you had a couple of things you want to say, Tom, before we go in camera?
Thank you, Warden Weber. Just some points that I think since the last time we were together, I received a lot of phone calls about the roadside vegetation, and I want to make a good statement in supporting the Nova Scotia Public Works. They were by this week in the village and trimmed some of those intersections back with the vegetation, so now you don't have to go out to the middle of the road to go across the street. Not everything's perfect, but they did a very good job. I had the privilege, along with other councillors, to attend the Federation of Canadian Municipalities in Edmonton. I want to thank for that opportunity. I did learn a lot of very good things. Everyone seems to be having the same challenges: water, roads, infrastructure. The same thing was talked about so much, and everybody's challenged with it. The sense that I got is that the Canadian Federation of Municipality is working with the different levels of government, trying to make sure that we are heard, that we get investment from them, and looking forward to trying to conquer some of those challenges that we do all share. And I do recognize our municipality does have a lot of it in place or working on it, which is important. Water, we talked about that. I get a call a week or more about water and conservation. I won't say anything more of that. I, as a councillor, took privilege to meet with the public of my district and others with 3 public sessions. I had over 60 people come to the sessions. I heard a lot of things. There will be some follow-up done by myself and some people that work together in the district to make sure that we follow up on the common concerns that all those folks had. I also had the privilege attending the Chester Municipality Heritage Society annual meeting, and Sid Demerick spoke about the wonderful work of the committee and the people that he represents from both the islands and the protection of public access and that, and he did a wonderful presentation, and he spoke very highly of the joint effort of our municipality and others with their organization, and I want to thank him for that opportunity because he did a very good presentation. I am asking our CAO, I know we talked about deer, and I got a call again this week already wanting to know when that topic may come to our agenda because people want to come in and talk about the endless deer that continue to travel our community, and I hope that will soon hit the agenda so they can share their thoughts and bring those things forward. Traffic, these two go together. Traffic in the area right now, you can be prepared to stop just about anywhere for construction, tree trimming, ditching, highway work, deer, and film.
Yep, film industry.
Filming that's going on. We have a number of shows that are coming to our communities to film during the summer, so please, I encourage people to be patient. It does bring us revenue in the end. We get a lot of people, a lot of businesses that get employed through of it, and people that are employed and rentals, and I ask for patience of people that are traveling through and our residents. Finally, I want to congratulate the students that are graduating this week and next week at the various levels of school, and another season of school has come to an end, and I'm proud to hear from many of them that they have other opportunities for the summer and going into secondary and major things in their life ahead, so congratulations to them. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of the agenda. We have one in-camera item. So we would require a motion to go in camera. It's a personnel matter, I believe.
And potential litigation.
Well. Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.